Hello YouTube, it is Hunter Surge here with Thursday card reveals. Let's talk about some Vanguard. Today we have the card reveals for some new Zorga, some new Wirbel, and some new Artisaria support. So let us get into it. Starting off with the Wirbel cards, we have the Wirbel Common, Dragorid Daria. As before, thank you to Kyrus Darkblade for their translations on Twitter. That's where I'm pulling the card text from. So credit to them. Um, this is just a plus 5k power, plus 5k shield card. We've seen lots of comments like this before. Probably won't find its way into the deck, but it's like a decent enough card. It's a 13k boost. It has also a 10k shield. These aren't ever like the worst thing in the world, but like not being live until turn 3 is always kind of weak on these. Next, for the rare, we have Dragorid Harris. This is on attack if you have a Great Dragorid or Vanguard, and you Energy Blast it for the cost of a card ability this turn. It gets power plus 5k. Then, if one of your opponent's rear guards was retired by a card effect this turn, you can Soul Blast one to give it a Battle Dory effect. While this was like revealed as Wirbel support, and like it's obvious how this works with Wirbel, using Wirbel's EV3 a single time activates both effects of this card. It can be used outside of that. It's like it is actually completely generic as long as you're able to fulfill the two conditions of energy blast cost and retire a rear guard. And there's a lot of decks in Dragon Empire that can do that. Hell, Vergilla can do it with the Ace unit. The Dragon Empire Ace unit fulfills both of these conditions by itself. Um, so this card's pretty generic, and this card is honestly pretty solid. I wouldn't be surprised to see it making the cut in some deck or other. But there's a lot of decks that can potentially use this. So this is a decent enough rare. But like I'm not sure Wirbel will end up using this, but let us get into the triple rare. So lastly for Wirbel, we have Wirbel's triple rare, Dragritter Sadiq. When it's placed on rear from hand, you do the reveal from right deck, or if you have a great Dragritter Wirbel Vanguard, you Counterblast 1, look top 5, and then you call something from among them whose grade is less than or equal to your Vanguard. And then if your opponent's Vanguard is great to greater, this gets power plus 5k. And then at end of turn, if you energy blasted 6 or more, for the act ability of your Wirbel Vanguard, you can retire this card to either Energy Charge 3 or choose a card from your drop and put it into your soul. This card is super sick. So like, Wirbel didn't really have anything that worked in the early game, so having a grade 2 like this that is going to be able to do its thing in the early game is very, very nice, especially since like Latifa packages like as an early game thing in Dragon Empire is hard to like generically splash. Scarlet Flame makes that a bit more doable, but still not super great. So like you're more capable of doing early game stuff now with Sadiq, which is really, really awesome. That's just a really good early game effect to have. Really fantastic. And then like it's just completely generic, just calls out anything like really, really good. Um, and then its secondary effect is also very, very nice. Um, the big thing here is that you're on turn 4 after you Soul Blast out of Wirbel to restand with Drive 1. This card lets you guarantee next turn, regardless of whether you have Persona Ride or not. And you don't really need Persona Ride for power in Wirbel because like you can use Drake Resonance itself plus the promo that is Drake Resonance. Like that plus 20k is more than enough. You don't need Persona Ride beyond getting the copies of Wirbel and Soul for you to Soul Blast out. And this card puts the Wirbels back into Soul for you to Soul Blast out. So that you know that next turn, regardless of Persona Ride, you're going to be able to get that Drive 1 and get the full value out of Wirbel's Restand, which is really, really awesome. Yeah, I like this card. It's really, really good. I like this a lot. The Energy Charge 3 option is also pretty good. Like, if you already have Persona Ride in hand, you can go like, okay, I'm going to go for an Energy Charge 3, and that means I can either, like, defensively use a card that costs energy, like, say, You in the Sky would be an example, or just, like, one of the Gun Cyclers. and then or you can go, okay, I will now have 9 energy going into my next main phase so that I can retire 3 with Wirbel. Depending on the deck that you're fighting, that might be something you want to preemptively set up, so that you can like fully wipe everything that you want to wipe off your opponent's board. So yeah, this card is really, really good. I think this card is really awesome for Wirbel. It does a lot for the deck. Next up, we have the Artisaria triple rare, which is Stylish Looper Crucial. So when placed on rare from hand, you can either reveal an Artisaria from right deck, or if you have grade 3 Artisaria Vanguard, you can counterblast 1 to draw a card. So like little minor like early game effect you can do with this card, which is like nice to have. And then on boost, if you have a sound system card in your order zone, it gets power plus 5k, so it's a 13k booster. Then if it's boosting a grade 3 or greater Artisaria, it gets an additional power plus 2k, so it's a 15k booster on Artisaria. And then you get to Soul Blast 1 to choose one of your rears and give it the effect that when it's retired from rear, put into your hand. So you get to go swing Artisaria with this behind it, you Soul Blast 1, give this effect to one of your front row rears, and then you call over that front row rear with the Shadow Army token with Arzaria's on attack, and get that card right back. So you don't actually lose that card, which is really, really awesome. Particularly with that grade 2 that Arzaria has, that can like retire Shadow Army tokens for extra shield. That card is really, really high value. So being able to like reuse that card is pretty good. Last set there was also that grade 2 that when it's retired, you call Shadow Army token if I recall correctly. So you could like target that card, get the Shadow Army token from retiring, and also get it back to your hand, which is pretty good value. Lots of really good stuff you can do with this effect. One of these 15k boosters, like these special boosters that a lot of the Divine stacks have gotten, being a triple rare is a bit weird, but it's like doing some extra stuff. Like it has that extra early game mode that you can utilize. And like of the special boosters, this is one of the most powerful effects one of them has ever gotten. So like it's a very good card overall. Yeah, this seems very, very strong. And then we have Zorga's Common, Lookout Hunter's Vigilar. So this is just a grade 1. When it's placed on rear by your grade 3 or greater Zorga's effect, you energy charge 1. Like this is pack filler. This is super pack filler. This wouldn't be good. Like this is the sort of like, oh, we have to have a second card in the support wave. We're just gonna make it some low rarity jank, and they make it the most below par card ever. That wouldn't even be good if it was generic. Like this card is awful. This card's really, really bad. Not even worth discussing. Then last card from the stream is the Zorga Triple Rare. This is the big one. So this is Remain Smashing. It is an 8k grade 2, which we saw in the preview image for last week, and that immediately made me scared. Because usually the Zorga cards with below par power for their grade are pretty crazy. So auto, hand, or drop when your Zorga Vanguard with Divine Skill attacks. If you don't have a rear with this card's name, you can counterblast 1 and retire one of your rears, call it to rearguard circle, and for each different name among the normal orders in your bind zone, it gets power plus 5k. So like on Persona Ride turn, you can expect this to be hitting like 28k to 38k, depending on how many bind orders you've been able to set up, which is pretty good. Which is pretty alright. Like the fourth attack in Zorga always has like a bit of an issue. Like Keel Severing had this issue too, where like a lot of Zorga's strength comes from the fact that all of your attacks have extra crit or are a Vanguard swing, which has inherent crit pressure. So it makes it a risk for your opponent to take, and that allows you to like effectively damage your opponent from a lot of positions, and like force your opponent that if they want damage, they're going to have to take a 2 damage swing. And that can be pretty powerful. That stuff can be pretty strong. However, a fourth attack from a run crit rear guard is a bit harder to extend that crit pressure to, because you are depending on your Vanguard hitting a crit on drive check to be able to pass over to this new rear guard for it to have crit pressure. And like by the time this is swinging, your opponent knows if it's going to have that crit or not. And you already had to commit the counterblast 1 to putting it on the board. But like having a 4th attack does still give the deck a lot more like consistent pressure turn after turn, even if it's not the biggest swing in the world, and even if it doesn't have guaranteed crit pressure like all your other swings do. It is still a pretty powerful tool for the deck to have access to. It also has a secondary effect at the end of the battle that this attack to Vanguard, counterblast 1, and bind it. You choose a normal order without Regalis piece from your bind zone and putting it into your hand. You probably won't be using this effect very often, but like it's a nice option to have available to you in the card that is already providing you your 4th attack. Like this is pretty alright to have access to. I don't think there's any reason to complain about having access to this kind of thing, especially in a deck that's like for its core gameplay is super counterblast light. So like if you're in a spot where you really need an order back, like you can find the counterblast resources to put into this this effect. But this does mean that you will lose access to having this 4th attack on your future turns, which is definitely a downside of using that effect. But like it's just like a nice little extra option for the card to have access to, and I think it's rather neat that they put this on the card. I think it's like a cool option to have. I like these kind of like oh this is a pretty flexible card. So I like this card quite a bit. Like it seems like a pretty significant buff to Zorga. Yeah. Okay, let us move on to the cards of the day. Real quick, the stream for next week next Thursday is going to be covering a collab that is going to be revealed in the conference on Wednesday. I'm not so sure about covering that collab because I'm always a bit like on collabs. I don't really care for them. But that conference stuff will probably be big news, so I will definitely be doing a video Thursday morning regardless. So let's get into our cards of the day. All right, so we have 2 batches of cards of the day to go over. First, we had 3 Dragon Empire cards. So this double rare is the Dragon Empire member of the double rare cycle that gets you can Soul Blast 1 when you place on Guardian Circle to give a plus 10k shield if you have 5 or more cards in damage, or if you got hit this turn. And has a plus 5k condition on rear, which is in this case it's your opponent having 1 or less rear, which is really hard to achieve, weirdly difficult to achieve. I don't know what's going on with this one. I still like this cycle of cards, but like the Dark States one had a really good condition for a pretty easy to achieve condition for its plus 5k. The rest have been really weird. Like, this is the sort of condition you'd expect to see on a card that gets like plus 10k or plus 15k. Just for plus 5k, that's a lot of work. Then we have Soaking Draco Kid. So this is a grade 1 that when you play Secret Bath Dragoncry Hot Springs from your hand into the order zone, you can Energy Blast 3 and call this card onto rear. And if your opponent's Vanguard is grade 3 or greater, it gets power plus 5k. For those who don't remember, this order is one of the ones from the set order cycle in DZ set 6. The Dragon Empire one was you rest it to energy charge 1. So not particularly good, but I always like seeing these generic engine things built out. I wish they would put like more powerful stuff in them, but they're always something I'm like decently fond of. And then we have Demonic Dragon Nymph Joy. Speaking of engines, there was that whole Nymph engine. So you know, and once per turn, we have boosts, and your Vanguard is grade 3 or greater, and you played a normal order this turn. During this battle, your opponent cannot intercept. Very, very bad. Any sort of intercept lock you really want to be for the entire turn to just lock your opponent out of using that shield value. If your intercept lock is only for 1 battle, they're just going to use those intercepts on something else. And the conditions are really, really high. Like, needing to use a normal order for an effect this mid is not good. Very not great. And then lastly, we have a batch of storage cards of the day. So we have Indomitable Brave Shooter. This is the storage member of the double rare cycle. So same thing as before. And this one, its condition for power plus 5k is an order zone was put into your drop zone this turn. It's been a while since we saw this whole supposed storage is themed around normal order stuff. I think there's like a decent amount of decks that can like fulfill that condition, but it's still like a pretty stringent condition. And like with the Dragon Empire one, this is a condition you would expect to be getting a higher value out of, because like it is rather more specific, and like more effort to achieve. It's weird. It's a weird one. It's a weird one for sure. Then we have a common armor piercing brave shooter. This is once per turn. This is a grade 2 10k. Once per turn, when your opponent's unit is placed onto Guardian Circle, if it's the first Guardian placed during this battle and this unit is attacking, you can counterblast one to choose one of your opponent's Guardians and give it shield minus 5,000. This card is pretty bad. It like the effect is interesting, but like it's effect this is in effect a counterblast one for plus 5k. This is not very good. It's just not very good at all. And then our last card for today's video is the storage member of this Guardian cycle that we've been getting this set. These grade 1s that when you place them on Guardian Circle, you can Energy Blast 3, and they get plus 5k shield for each grade of the attacking unit. As I've said before, I think this cycle has quite a bit of potential in a deck that has the space for them and has room in their energy economy to be paying this cost. This is a pretty powerful shield gain effect. So I quite like these cards. But this is just another one of that cycle. So we're just repeating what we've gone over with them before. And that's it for us today. With that said, this is going to be Hunter Surge signing off.